11 straight. That's where we're at now. Back to the Mets. No Scott once again. Nico, it has been 11 straight. Since April 7th, this baseball team has not won a game. It will be 2 weeks to the day on Tuesday when they play the Twins that their last win had come. A walk-off from Ronnie Mauricio against the D-backs. He's no longer on the roster, by the way. I don't really know what to say here. I don't really have much. I think I'm reacting in a good way. People have told me that I'm actually reacting positively and not as aggressively as they thought. How are you reacting to this?
I didn't say a word. I just stared at my TV for about 35 to, 45 seconds without even moving when I saw them lose that game on Sunday, because what are you supposed to say, right? I mean, it's unfathomable that they somehow find new ways to lose every day. Like, we've been blaming the offense, and again, the offense was certainly an issue on Sunday. But of course, Devin Williams blows the save. Like, you think they're finally going to do it, because even when they're winning that game 1-0, you're still frustrated, but you're like, you know what? Just get a win under your belt and end this streak. And they can't do it. And it's like, how are they ever going to win a game? Like, I'm starting to be convinced that they're just going to lose out. They're never going to win a game again. That's it.
Well, that's the thing. It's 1-0, and I had no confidence that they were going to hold that lead. Even, with how good Williams has been in save situations and, the few non-situations he came into outside of that Dodger game, I had no confidence they were winning that game. They had way too many chances earlier to extend that lead, excuse me. I just think, like, there was no way they were going to win that game. You have Michael Conforto come up to the plate, and you knew he was going to – I mean, I thought he was going to hit a walk-off home run. All right, he does the next best thing. He hits an RBI double to tie the game. I don't even know where to start. Do you want to start with Mendoza? Like, I understand people are really upset with him not walking Hoerner. I don't think it's, like, the worst move in the world. Like, Hoerner's going to win the game there essentially for you, but it's going to be second and third. You're not setting up a double play. He's going to steal second. So
Right.
you're not setting up a double play.
And the issue here is everyone was complaining that Michael Busch is such a worse hitter than Hoerner, which I agree with. You'd rather have second and third one out with a guy hitting 164 at the plate. But then after that, Alex Bregman's on deck. So, like, what's the plan after you get that second out, right? Like, everyone was so concerned about not facing Hoerner compared to Busch, but either way, you still had to get 2 more outs. And I don't like the matchup of the guys following him, because it was Bregman and then Happ. Happ had killed them all weekend.
Mhm.
I'm pretty sure he homered both Friday and Saturday.
Yep.
So what's the difference between facing Nico Hoerner there with 1 out or having the bases loaded for Happ if they decide to, let's say they walk Hoerner and then they get Busch and then they walk Bregman? I don't like the matchup of having Ian Happ up with the bases loaded.
No.
So either way, I think it was just a lose-lose. The wild pitch is what really killed them in that inning, because they get the first out. They strike out. I forget who that was who was at the plate with Armstrong at third and nobody out. If he's still at second base, then you can walk Hoerner and hope with first and second one out, you get a double play.
Busch grounds into the double play after you walk Hoerner. He killed them all weekend. He kills them in general, and he doesn't strike out. So like you mentioned, with the runner on third, a guy that never strikes out, right there. And that's why I think so many people were upset with Mendoza after the game that he should have walked him. That's fine, but don't tell me you're setting up the double play in that situation. You're not. He's going to steal second on the first pitch, and Kimbrel's probably not even going to throw over. So if it's about just extending the game, 1 more hitter or 2 more hitters, fine. But it's not about getting out of that inning at all. You're not getting out of that inning. They were dead. They were done.
And we've said this before. The run prevention thing is gonna be what kills David Stearns.
Mhm.
Him preaching that all offseason, and then arguably that's why they lost, right? Because if you go back to the 9th inning when Conforto hits the double, sure, they would have been set up regardless, but how about Tyrone Taylor not being able to field the ball cleanly off the wall? It gets past him and goes all the way back to the warning track. It would have allowed the runner to score. And then in extra innings, like we mentioned, the wild pitch. So we're sitting here talking about how the run prevention is going to be so much better than it was last year, and it's going to help the fact that the offense got significantly worse. Well, I haven't seen that yet. How about on Friday when Brett Beatty makes an error with the bases loaded, botching that ground ball hit right to him? It's not like he had to make a diving stop to knock it down and keep it in the infield. It was hit directly at him, and he couldn't field it.
How about that game? Like Friday, they hit the ball hard. They had 14 hits and they only score 4 runs. But of course, Sango was putrid in the game. They have no chance whatsoever. And the Cubs just kept scoring as the game went on. But that was kind of one of those games where you're like, all right, maybe the offense is getting going. Maybe they are about to turn a corner. And with Soto coming back in a few days, they're going to start to pick it up. And maybe you win one game in this series, possibly take the rest of it. No, they go backwards. They score 3 runs total the rest of the series, and you don't have that sense that they are getting out of it. You don't have the sense that they are going to start hitting the ball hard and in the air. It's just ground ball, bad at bat, strikeouts, no walks. It's putrid.
I mean, that was very demoralizing, though, on Friday because even when they score the 3 runs in the top of the second, you have no faith that Senga's going to keep it a 1-run game and let the offense work its way back into the game. I mean, he gives up the 4 runs in the first inning, and from that point on, you're like, all right, this game's over. But then they actually do score 3 runs in the top of the second, and then he immediately gives 2 runs right back, and it's 6-3, and you're like, I mean, what was even the point of the 3 runs? I think this whole thing now, especially for the offense, these hitters, it's all mental. They're not this bad. They're not. Like Francisco Lindor is a 4-time All-Star. Bo Bichette hit 311 last year. These are the things we talked about last week before this series. They're not this bad. I'm convinced that it's all mental now. They have to win a game to finally break this streak, and Sunday was it.
Yes and no. These at-bats are so bad. These at-bats are putrid. They're not making good contact. They're not swinging at good pitches. I would agree with you. I think a lot of it's mental because I think a lot of it is they're feeling this pressure and they're feeling almost desperate at this point to get a win. And they're trying to do too much, especially with Juan Soto not there. Now, how much does Juan Soto coming back change things? Right? He's one person. Yeah, he's a top 3 NL MVP finalist last year, but he's one human being. How much could he actually change coming back into this lineup? I don't know. I know I wouldn't pitch to him.
Yeah, I don't think it does much, to be honest. Juan Soto is not going to be able to make Marcus Semien a better hitter. Like, it doesn't work that way. You want to say Bichette? Okay, fine. Or you want to say Lindor because he'll hit in front of him and have the protection? Sure, that's great. But what about the other 6 hitters in the lineup? Like, I don't understand how this is going to change anything. Maybe, I guess, if they have Benj lead off and then have Soto in the 2-hole, that makes Benj better because he gets the protection. And then you're hoping behind that the guys like Lindor, Bichette, and Robert just eventually figure it out and go back to being the great hitters that they can be. So, okay, you want to say the top 5 in the lineup is better. I still don't think it's enough, though, because you're going to have automatic outs at the bottom of that lineup with Semien, Beatty, Vientos. I know Vientos homered on Saturday, but he does it once every 2 weeks. It's not enough. You need to do it more often, Mark.
Yeah, I don't love Benj leading off. I understand Soto's approach is different than anybody else's, but he's one man, he's one person. Their issues right now within this lineup since he's gone down are bigger than him just getting hurt and not being here. It's bigger than that. It's terrible at bats and terrible baseball and bad defense. It is. I don't remember a more frustrating time. I really don't. I really cannot remember a more frustrating, boring baseball team.
I mean, it's the first 11-game losing streak since 2004. So we've really never experienced something like this. I would argue that the closest thing would be August of 2021, where they trade for Javi Baez at the deadline, and they were in first place at that time. and then it just all collapsed. I remember they went to San Francisco and LA, and I'm pretty sure they went like 1-5 on that road trip, and then they had to come home and play both of them again. And that was the year that the Giants won like over 100 games.
Yeah.
So both of those teams were so good, and the Mets just had to play each of them 6 times in a 2-week span. And I can't remember exactly what it was. I think they had like a 2-12 stretch and just fell out of the race. That was one of the worst couple weeks that I remember, but this is horrible. This is like, at least in those games they were scoring. Like the game, if they were losing all of these games 7-6, I don't think we'd be as mad.
No.
No matter what, you're going to be frustrated about an 11-game losing streak. But I think we would sit here and say, all right, at least, if the guys like Bichette and Semien and Robert are hitting, we're not so quick to hate on David Stearns. We'd probably be blaming him for, letting Edwin Diaz walk, which we definitely should be, because Devin Williams, we've given him the benefit of the doubt for the first 3 weeks of the season now. Last week he gives up those 4 runs in LA. We were like, oh, he hasn't pitched in 8 days. Not his fault. No big deal. He actually looked okay in the beginning of the year, his first couple appearances. Sunday is an absolute cannot happen moment for Devin Williams.
No.
There are games that are bigger than the other, right? All 162 count equally, but there are games that are more important than others, and Sunday was a very important game in my eyes. They really, really, really needed to get a win before coming home, just for temporarily stop the bleeding and allow these guys to breathe a sigh of relief and just say to themselves, all right, we can do this. Like, it's not that hard to win a baseball game. Right now, it feels impossible. And now they're supposed to come home for a 9-game homestand. I can't even, think about what the fan base is going to look like on Tuesday when they play that first game against the Twins. There might not be 10,000 people there.
Are you going?
I'm not.
I'm not going either.
And normally it's something that I would consider, where it's like, hey, maybe they need us, but nobody else is going to do it. I'm going to go sit there in 50-degree weather and freeze just to watch them score 1 run. I can't do it.
Averaging 1.7 runs over this losing streak. I mean, it is beyond bad. By the way, you mentioned something. Devin Williams is much better than Edwin Diaz right now. I don't know if you've seen how bad Edwin Diaz has been.
Yeah, but
see what he did yesterday. You saw what he did Sunday.
Yeah, no, I did. I think the change of scenery is probably new for him. I mean, he was horrible his first year with the Mets too. It probably takes some time to adjust to that.
Yeah, but his velo's down. They're very, very concerned about the velo. He didn't record an out yesterday, or if he did, he recorded 1 out. Let me see. It's right up here. He didn't record an out yesterday. He gave up 3 runs, 1 walk. The outing before, 4 hits, 3 runs. Got out of the inning, but it's been really bad for Edwin. So I wouldn't jump and say, hey, like, thank God I think we made a mistake. I don't think we made this big mistake. I'll still stick by my guy, Devin Williams.
I mean, I know the numbers are skewed because it's so early, but he has a 7 ERA.
Yeah, I mean, again, the Grand Slam does that. In a meaningless game, the Grand Slam does that. I'm nitpicking though. I'm nitpicking. I ordered a completely off topic. I ordered a back massager, and I'm waiting for it to get here, and I absolutely cannot wait because I got a bad back. I got a bad back. When I'm working
you sound
out,
like a 60-year-old man.
When I'm working out, and I've been working out a lot, the back it goes, the lower back. I got problems with the lower back. So I ordered this like Theracane. It looks like a literal massive candy cane. And I'm checking my Amazon to see if it got here yet. It didn't. Anyway. Yeah, they stopped pitching Diaz. They had to stop pitching him because he's been so bad. It was, and I'll tell you the exact, it was 9 days. The last time he pitched was against Texas.
Well, I thought it was weird when the Mets faced them.
Yeah,
I think it was the Tuesday game. It was like a close game in the 9th, and they didn't go to Diaz for the save. I think it was Alex Vesia that they brought in instead, and I was like, that is weird.
They were giving him a week or so because of this velo thing. because his velo's down so much. They said, you know what, screw it, we're sitting him. So
At first, I was so upset that all these guys left, but I think now we're seeing that because if Diaz was still here and he was struggling, and if Alonso was here and he was struggling, I know Nimmo's gotten off to a great start, and so is McNeil. But if those two guys were doing bad and the team was still, they probably wouldn't be on an 11-game losing streak like this. But if they were under 500, I think it'd be harder for us to say negative things about Stearns
yeah.
because it's still the guys that were here before he got here. Now that we're seeing that this is his team, really for the first time, and this is the worst that they've looked in the 3 years that he's been the president of baseball operations, I actually think it's better off because now we have more of a reason to fire him.
You know, I never thought we'd be in a spot where we're talking about this. That's like the craziest part. Like, oh, when do they fire Stearns? Because like we're gonna have the Mendoza conversation, and that's fine, and that's always expected with managers. But for David Stearns, who Steve Cohen literally waited 2 years to bring here, then gave him a 5-year contract worth $10 million a year, and said, "This is your team." I never thought we'd be sitting here having a conversation about whether or not David Stearns should be and when he will be fired. I never thought this was possible.
But I there's one thing I want to say, and Steve Cohen is the treasure that the Mets have been waiting for 50 plus years. But I do think to an extent, because originally when they hired Stearns, it was supposed to be you take the money that Cohen has and the brain that Stearns has, and you put it together, and it's brilliance, and they're going to be a juggernaut like the Dodgers, who just make every correct move because David Stearns did it in Milwaukee with less resources. Now let's watch him cook with all the money in the world. I just don't think it works that way. Like he's trying to do it.
But what works? What's the perfect formula?
But there needs to, if you're going to just do it with the money, then just do it with the money. Like they're trying to sign these guys like Marcus Semien, for example. They brought him in for defense to make the middle of the infield better defensively, but he's a way worse hitter because they wanted to take 2 more years off of Nimmo's contract. And I get that. Like that makes sense, right? We all agreed at the time, like, that's fine, do that. But why are we worried about the money in 2029 and 2030? You have the richest owner in the sport. Who gives a crap about how much Brandon Nimmo is making 3 years from now? You're worried about things that shouldn't matter right now. And then they're trying to tell me that run prevention is such a big deal, but then you sign guys that have never played the position before. It's like he tries to be like so much smarter than the normal person. Just do the basic things that work. Bo Bichette, $42 million to play third base. Never played third base before. Jorge Polanco, $20 million to play first base. He's never played the position before. Brett Beatty, let's stick him in right field because he looked good at third base and second base. Just because he plays good at two positions doesn't mean that every other position is going to work out. Same thing at first base. Mark Vientos trying to scoop a ball Sunday. Can't do it. Goes off the glove and all the way to the edge of the grass towards the outfield and right field. He's never played first base before. Stop trying to move these guys around and think that you're smarter than everyone. You wonder why we call you the boy genius. It's because you try to act like one.
How about this comment? What, does he deserve credit for that? Because
yeah, absolutely.
It's true. It is true. Matt Arnold, his assistant, has basically done the same thing in Milwaukee. They've been just as good. It's a great point. I'll go back to the Semien thing. I was so out on Nimmo, especially as an offensive player, where I actually didn't think that Nimmo would, I thought they would have similar seasons offensively. That's how out on Nimmo I was. So the fact that Nimmo has a 900 OPS and is killing it is absolutely shocking to me. And it's obviously not going to last, but he still, at this point, I think it's very fair to say that he will be a more productive offensive player than Semien will be. Defensively, again, I have my issues with Nimmo offensively and defensively, and Semien gives you the stability you need at second base. But
we're so quick to say that Nimmo was on the decline, and I get that when you look at the overall numbers, like average on base percentage, OPS. Sure, they were down compared to 2022 and 2023, but I think it's just because he changed his approach. I mean, he never was a guy that was hitting 25 home runs and driving in 90 runs. He did it in back-to-back years. 2024, he had 23 bombs with 90 RBIs, and then last year he had 25 home runs with 92 RBIs.
Yeah,
Why
but
are we so quick to take a guy that had 90 runs batted in back-to-back years and say, yeah, you were the problem. See you later, pal?
yeah, it was just different. It wasn't what they needed from him. They needed him to be that guy that was, on base and was the average was higher. I mean, he had 260 last year, which was better than I originally had thought. But you look at that 2024 season. Yeah, he had 23 home runs, 90 RBIs. His on base was 327. His on base was 324 in 2025, which is very low for him. Very low. I mean, they needed 2023 and 2022 Brandon Nimmo.
Did you see Coleman Crow the other day for the Brewers
Yeah,
pitching?
I
I
didn't
completely
even,
forgot who he even was
yeah.
until
thought it
I
was
saw the
photoshopped. I didn't think it was real. How about this Jeremiah Jackson in Baltimore? Excuse me. We
Right,
traded Dominic
right.
Leone for him. And then Stearns releases him, I'm pretty sure. He's got he'd lead the Mets in home runs right now and RBIs. That's how good of a season he's having. And he plays multiple positions.
You know what one bothers me the most? I got to be honest, because I was watching that game Sunday night. How about Dom Smith in Atlanta?
Yeah, we
Oh
had
my
this
God.
conversation. We still got the bet
Oh my
going.
God.
We still got that bet going. If I don't
Just
think he's on the team by June.
it bothers me. It just bothers me that these guys it's I swear to God, I'm starting to believe that it's literally a curse.
Yeah,
Like
I'm sorry. Yeah,
like Bo Bichette puts on the blue and orange pinstripes and he just loses all of the aura and everything about him. It's just gone. Gone.
How about Rico Garcia in Baltimore too? Remember Rico Garcia?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I
Great.
actually don't think he's allowed to run this year. Be completely honest
Right.
with you.
Of course.
He'd probably
Why
be the
would he?
setup man.
He'll win the reliever of the year award.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad. Would you fire Mendoza now, or do you wait? They got this stretch. Let me pull up this stretch quick. Jolly Olive tweeted it. Here it is. So from April 21st, so Tuesday, to May 10th, they are going to play the Twins at home, the Rockies at home, the Nationals at home. Then they're going to go out west to play the Angels on the road, the Rockies on the road, and the Diamondbacks on the road. That is how many games? 18 games. What does their record have to be in those 18 games for you to say, okay, I feel like we have a chance at competing for a playoff spot down the stretch? Not even saying make the playoffs. I'm saying the summer's interesting. The summer's interesting.
It's funny because I thought about this morning when I was, getting ready. Because I was thinking about this homestand, right? Because I like to take it by that. I don't even want to think about the road trip that when they go back out west again. Just looking at the homestand, even if they go 7-2, which it would be out of this world, right? They're still 2 games under 500 or 3 games
but
under
obviously
500.
I'll sign up for 6-3 right now.
Yeah, it's just like it just feels like it's impossible for them to do it. And again, I'm gonna be sitting there watching every game. Even if I'm not going Tuesday, I think the next game I'm going to is Sunday against the Rockies. I'm gonna be there watching every pitch, and it's just like I I I don't see it happening. Like, even if they go 6-3, now you're asking them to then have to go 6-3 again on a 9-game road trip where they're going back out west. I'm not making excuses for them, but enough of this traveling. I mean, come on, they're going to go back to California for a third time. The back and forth of the East and West Coast time zones, that's got to be weighing on them a little bit.
It certainly was. They screwed them with the schedule. They certainly screwed them with this schedule. But again, like, that's the hand you were dealt. You're supposed to be one of the best teams in baseball. You have the highest payroll, second highest payroll in the sport. Like, deal with it. Deal with
So
it.
again, though, even if they do go, let's say 12-6 in those 18 games, now we're still sitting here in mid-May talking about a team that's still under 500, right? If they're 7-15 now and they go 12-6, that's what, 19-21? We're 40 games into the season talking about a 19-21 ball club. I don't think anybody would have signed up for that on opening day.
I'm signing for that right now, though. I'm signing for that right this second. 100% I'm signing for 19-21 on May 10th. It's better than the alternative.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Because what are the right? What is the alternative? They're
10 games under still. Yeah,
right.
10
They're
games under at that
15 and
point.
25.
Like,
Yeah,
you see
it's
this.
it just doesn't seem like even after I have no faith that they're gonna be able to continue that for the whole year. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe this is 2024 all over again, right? That's what we've been saying. It's early. It's early. Let them figure it out. But when I was saying that, they were 7-12. 7-12 is 6 in one week, and you're back to 500. Bang. Now I'm sitting here saying that the only way that they could do it is by going on an 8-game winning streak.
7-15 is. It feels a lot worse. It feels.
Yeah, like at least when they, when I woke up Friday morning and we recorded the last episode, 7-12 seemed like no big deal. Now it's like, oh my God, what? I don't know. I feel like it's like slipping away further and further, and every loss feels like the end of the world.
Well, that's why the title of this episode is "The End Is Near."
There you go.
Would you fire Mendoza today, or you're still good with him managing this team?
No, I think it's still not his fault. I mean, if they are to fire him and they want to get a new voice in here, I know you mentioned Beltran. I know there's some other names out there circling that guys have talked about. Maybe it'll just add a respect factor. But I don't know. I've always liked that Mendoza was a player's manager and the guys liked him and they got along and it was supposed to make the clubhouse fun. Although maybe that's not the case because I've heard nothing about the clubhouse being fun the last year and a half.
Well, I heard they were blasting.
I don't think that he's the problem.
I heard they were blasting music before yesterday's game in the locker room, trying to get pumped up. That's what I heard. That's what I read on Twitter.
I've never had an issue with that. I think when we're sitting here talking about how they need confidence, right? It's all mental. They're chasing pitches out of the zone. They're being too aggressive, trying to do too much. I think the best thing for them is to have a manager that can lighten the mood a little bit. Like everyone was so mad at Lindor smiling, and I get it. You're frustrated. He should be frustrated too, and he is. Even if he's not showing it, he's frustrated. But you got to let them lighten up a little bit because adding more pressure on them doesn't help. You want them to be robots? They're human beings.
No, I agree with that. How about this from CJ talking about Mendoza? The issues last year kind of have spilled over, and it's a completely different team. How is that possible? How is a completely different team having the same issues as one did last year? There's only one constant.
But I don't understand how it's necessarily his fault. Like the pitching, not like Kodai Senga goes out there and gets rocked. How is that Carlos Mendoza's fault?
No, I mean, I think a lot of times, though, like whenever we're talking about firing a manager, 95% of it is the players just are not performing.
Like in other sports, I feel like in football, a team is struggling. Like I use the Giants, for example, as a Giant fan. You blamed Shane Bowen for the defense looking bad. Like there's a lot of coaching and scheme that goes into football. Even in hockey, the Islanders just fired Patrick Waugh. We all looked at the defensive structure, their struggles, to help out Sorokin in the defensive zone as a major issue as to why they're losing games. The power play is all set up by a scheme and a game plan and a system. They were ranked 32nd in power play. You fire the coach because of that. I don't understand how the Mets hitting less than 200 as a team has anything to do with the manager. Besides the fact that you could say, yeah, he's not motivating them enough. He's not saying, come on, guys, let's go get them before every game. Like, I don't know what you want him to do.
Are they too comfortable? That's the one thing I would ask. Are they too comfortable?
It doesn't seem like it when I listen to Lindor in the post game. I mean, maybe that's the case because I guess Mendoza keeps saying we just got to keep going, and the message is getting stale, and they're not motivated. All right, fine. You want to get a new manager to change the voice? Fine, go ahead. I'm not going to be mad about it.
Because my answers on Lindor early on would have been different. This guy's the leader of my team. He's making these mental lapses. After that A's game, I'm sitting there saying, this guy's the leader of this team, and this is unacceptable, and he needs to be better, and this is not like him, but we cannot afford these mistakes. He needs to be better and get his head out of his freaking ass. And I think that's okay to say.
Last episode, I talked about how if you're Mendoza, what is he supposed to say in the post game when talking about the struggles? Is he supposed to say that, David Stearns brought him a bad team? He can't say that. So how about I say it for him? Carlos Mendoza was handed a pile of crap this offseason. You gave him multiple guys who had sub 700 OPSs. They didn't do enough to add or fix the rotation at all. All you did was take a pile of crap and put a nice cherry on top with Freddie Peralta. That's it. David Peterson still sucks. Sean Manaea still not healthy. Kodai Senga still sucks. What did you think was going to happen? You were going to run the same guys out there from last year? You were so quick to get rid of Nimmo, Alonso, and McNeil. How about the rotation? I got to watch Tobias Myers go out there and throw 2 innings. And I know they actually pitched well on Sunday. I get it. But that was not supposed to be the original game plan. Kodai Senga can't even make it out of the 3rd inning on Friday. I don't understand how it's Carlos Mendoza's fault. Marcus Semien getting brought over here and Bo Bichette hitting 190. Like, we've seen this happen so many times before. Let's just keep changing the manager every 2-3 years. Maybe eventually we'll hit one. Attempt number 39 on trying to find the right manager.
I agree with you that it's not on Mendoza. Like, I agree. It's the blame is more on Stearns. I just think that a change of scenery, a voice, a change in the voice in the clubhouse at some point. I'm not saying right now. I wouldn't do it right now. I'm just saying it's coming, and it would. And I don't think it's going to hurt.
The only time that I thought it was fine to fire the manager was Luis Rojas, because I thought that 2021 was just horrible. Like, after I really thought 2019, after they win 86 games, the team was going to take the next step. Mm-hmm. And then I understand COVID happens. 2020 is a weird year. So you give him the benefit of the doubt. It's his first year as a manager, whatever. Right. But then 2021, Cohen buys the team. I really thought that was supposed to be the year. And they collapsed, like I mentioned earlier, in August and September. And I was like, all right, get rid of this guy. Because there was nothing to show in the 2 years that anything was going to work. Like, he had 2 years, back-to-back years of not making the playoffs. And I know I just excused him for 2020, but it was an 8-team format in the National League, and he still couldn't even get in. Yeah. The other managers, though, it always never made sense to me why we're so quick to move on from these guys. This could go back to even Willie Randolph. Like, you have a good season under your belt, and it feels like it gets completely forgotten about. Like, David Stearns did absolutely nothing for 2024. Don't tell me that David Stearns is the reason that they were good in 2024.
No,
the entire lineup was guys that were already here when he got here.
Not his team. It wasn't his team.
So I think that was Carlos Mendoza's team. He is a huge reason as to why they were so successful in 2024.
He got them back on track.
Forget about that.
He got them back on track where they had to be. I agree with that. I do agree with that. It wasn't Stearns' team.
The same thing happened with Buck Showalter. 2022, he shows up, great first year, and then 2023, they don't make the playoffs. Why are we so quick to, when it's 1-1, right? You have one good year, one bad year. Why are we using the bad year?
Stearns wanted his guy. Stearns wanted his guy. And people hate the way he handled that, by the way. Because Stearns didn't even tell Buck himself. I know you remember that whole fiasco.
I hate him. I actually do.
A lot of people hate him. That's the main takeaway. This should have.
But a lot of people hate Mendoza too, and I really don't. Like, I like Mendy.
I don't hate Mendy. I'm indifferent on Mendy. Again, I don't believe he's the best manager in baseball, but I don't think he's a bad one. But I do believe that he's replaceable. He's not irreplaceable.
Like, I don't know. It's just, I'm getting off on a tangent here, but like, I don't know either of them personally, but Mendy just seems like a nice guy. Stearns, it's like that smug face.
If you
Anything,
saw
anytime
David
he
Stearns right now, you would
speaks, I
punch
get
David.
angry.
You
I
would
get
punch
angry
David
watching
Stearns.
him talk.
You
Yeah,
would
like
punch David Stearns in the face right now if you saw him.
the game ends, and Mendoza and Lindor are always, meeting with the media, and I'm always interested to hear what Mendoza has to say. I see that Stearns is speaking now, and it's like, yup, what kind of nonsense is he going to spit at us now? Run prevention. I still believe in these guys. It's early. Yeah, blah, 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 blah.
David Stearns is public enemy number 1 in New York. Nico, we got to bounce. Quick one today. We'll be back after this Twin series, most likely on that Friday.
Please win a game.
Let's hope and pray that the next time we come on here, the New York Mets have won a baseball game. We will talk to you guys on Friday. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. This is available wherever you get your podcasts, obviously, Apple, Spotify, Amazon, whatever it is. And of course, on YouTube. We were live on YouTube. Go to the live tab if you want to rewatch this. Thank you very much. We'll talk to you guys next week.